Atlanta never sleeps when gossip strikes. The city thrives on whispers, but this time the murmur grew louder than thunder. A single spark lit the entire rumor mill ablaze. And at the heart of it, none other than Momma Dee. She didn't just hint, she dropped a bombshell so heavy, it shook every corner of love and hip-hop Atlanta. Imagine this, friends laughing over dinner, cameras rolling, and suddenly the atmosphere shifts. One comment, one revelation, and the room freezes. Momma Dee, with that trademark boldness, leaned in and let it spill. Her words weren't speculation. They carried weight. They carried fire. Within moments, the group was rattled. Jaws dropped. Some dismissed it as exaggeration. Others felt the sting of undeniable truth. The silence afterward was deafening, but the damage had already been done. Because when Momma Dee speaks, people listen. She has a history of lighting flames others are too afraid to strike. And now, the spark she unleashed promised a season unlike any other. The audience could sense it. The drama wasn't coming tomorrow. It was already here. Every eye turned. Every camera zoomed in. Atlanta was about to press play on chaos, and this time the fallout wouldn't just be entertaining. It would be explosive. Buckhead, a neighborhood known for glitz, fine dining, and late-night glamour. But one ordinary evening, inside a buzzing restaurant, something extraordinary unfolded. Patrons came for cocktails and conversation, yet they left with a scandal that would ignite Atlanta's feeds. At a corner table sat two familiar figures. Eyes darted, whispers spread, and phones quietly angled for the perfect shot. What the crowd witnessed wasn't casual dining. It was something far more intimate. Forks clinked, laughter echoed, but then came the detail no one could ignore. A spoon, a single spoon, passed across the table with deliberate care. One hand offered, the other received. Food shared, bite by bite. To onlookers, it wasn't innocent. It was unmistakably close. The exchange grew slower, more deliberate. Her smile lingered. His eyes stayed locked. The energy between them felt unspoken, but undeniable. To everyone watching, it was no longer about dinner. It was about the body language, about the chemistry. Then came the gasp. Someone caught the moment on camera. Grainy yet clear enough. The spoon, the glance, the quiet intimacy that screamed louder than words. The restaurant's background noise faded as whispers erupted from table to table. Within minutes, the sighting spread beyond the walls. Diners were texting friends before dessert hit the table. Bloggers were tipped off. And by the time the check was paid, the story had already escaped into the night. Because in Buckhead, nothing stays hidden for long. One shared spoon became the spark. One tiny gesture turned into a blazing rumor. And soon, everyone, from the streets to the screens, was asking the same question. Was this just dinner? Or was this the beginning of something much bigger? The moment the spoon touched lips, the table's energy changed. Conversations slowed, eyes widened, and laughter stumbled into awkward silence. What should have been harmless banter now felt like a revelation happening in plain sight. Scrappy leaned back first. His face said more than words ever could. A smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth, yet his eyes betrayed disbelief. Was it amusement or shock? No one could tell. But the cameras captured every twitch, every side glance, every raised brow. One by one, the group reacted. Some tried to cover their mouths with napkins, hiding their gasps. Others leaned forward, eager not to miss a single second. The tension stretched across the table like a wire pulled too tight. Then, the inevitable whisper. Someone muttered, "Did y'all see that?" It wasn't loud, but the microphones caught it. The production crew didn't need to stage this moment. It was raw, unscripted gold. Scrappy chuckled under his breath, shaking his head like he couldn't believe what he was witnessing. The camera zoomed tighter. The clip was alive, breathing, already begging to escape into the world beyond that restaurant. And just like that, the ripple began. Producers replayed the footage on monitors. Crew members exchanged knowing looks, and the air buzzed with the certainty that they had struck lightning. This wasn't just dinner. This was storyline fuel. Later, when the episode aired, fans paused and rewound. They dissected every frame. The spoon, the look, the smirk. That single exchange became a viral flashpoint. Because in reality TV, silence can scream louder than shouting. And in that moment, without a single word, the room told a story no one could ignore. It started small. A shaky video clip posted to a private story. The caption read only 5 words. Not them sharing a spoon. That was enough. Within minutes, screenshots spread like wildfire. Group chats lit up. Timelines flooded. Atlanta's rumor mill had officially gone digital. The footage wasn't clear. The angle was crooked, the lighting dim. But it didn't matter. Viewers leaned in, squinting, replaying, convinced they saw intimacy hidden in plain sight. The spoon became a symbol, a flashing signal of something secret. Then came the play-by-plays. Eyewitnesses jumped online, each one retelling the scene with dramatic exaggeration. One swore they heard giggles too close for comfort. Another insisted the lingering eye contact was impossible to deny. The accounts varied, but the conclusion felt the same. Something happened at that table. Memes arrived within hours. Grainy stills were captioned with sarcastic jokes, side eyes, and fire emojis. Polls popped up asking fans to vote flirty or innocent. Comment sections filled with thousands of divided voices. By sunrise, the story wasn't confined to Atlanta anymore. Blogs picked it up. Influencers reposted it. The spoon sighting had gone international. And the captions only grew more breathless. Caught red-handed. Proof in plain sight. Dinner or date. Every retweet added fuel. Every repost sharpened the narrative. Whether fact or exaggeration no longer mattered. The perception became the truth. The audience had chosen sides before the cast even spoke a word. What began as a quiet dinner had transformed into a cultural storm. And all it took was one blurry clip, one shaky angle, and one spoon shared across a table. Because on social media, Yandhi stayed silent. No statements, no clarifications, not even a subtle denial. And that silence only made the whispers louder. Fans scrolled through her Instagram like detectives hunting for clues. Every caption, every emoji, every filter, nothing was left unexplored. One post showed a glass of wine with the words, "Peace is priceless." Instantly, the comments exploded. Was it shade? Was it deflection? Or was she telling the world she wasn't fazed? Another throwback picture surfaced with a smile too perfect, too polished. Viewers swore it was a calculated distraction. Theories multiplied. Entire threads broke down her likes and follows. Fans claimed she unfollowed one account. Others argued she never followed them to begin with. Yet the debate raged on. Screenshots piled up, even when the evidence was shaky at best. Behind the scenes, friends were divided. Some urged her to ignore it completely. They said silence keeps power. Others insisted she needed to speak before the story swallowed her whole. "If you don't set the record straight, they'll write the narrative for you," one confidant warned. But Yandhi played her cards close. No interviews. No confessionals. Just silence, calculated and sharp. And sometimes, silence cuts deeper than words, because the longer she stayed quiet, the more the internet filled the gap. And in the world of reality TV, absence isn't neutrality, it's fuel. Every hour she refused to address it, the microscope zoomed closer. Yandhi wasn't just a cast member anymore. She was the mystery, the enigma, The unanswered question everyone was desperate to solve. And the silence? It wasn't fading. It was roaring. Kirk Frost couldn't resist stepping into the storm. With Rashida by his side, he offered commentary that dripped with sly humor. He didn't accuse directly, but every word felt like a dagger wrapped in a joke. His smirk carried weight. His tone suggested he knew more than he was saying. Rashida, though calmer, didn't hold back either. Her eyes narrowed as if she'd seen this movie before. She asked questions others were too cautious to raise. Is it dinner? Or is it something else? The table went quiet. Her delivery was cool, but her intent was sharp. Then came the late-night banter. The men circled around the rumor like sharks circling bait. Jokes turned into shade. They laughed about spoons, about how sharing food usually meant more behind closed doors. But underneath the laughter was tension. The teasing carried accusations no one wanted to state outright. Hints of poly life surfaced in the conversation. Someone joked that Atlanta wasn't new to arrangements. That maybe this wasn't scandal at all. Maybe it was just lifestyle. The laughter after that line was uneasy, nervous. Because jokes have truth hidden in them. The more they teased, the heavier the mood grew. What began as casual shade quickly spiraled into open suspicion. Kirk's words, Rashida's looks, and the men's smirks, all of it fanned the flames. Instead of diffusing drama, the Frosts added fuel. They framed the conversation with wit, but their presence made the whispers sharper. And once the cameras caught their banter, there was no going back. The tension wasn't just alive, it was multiplying. The moment the spoon video went viral, one name resurfaced almost instantly: Jasmine. Her history with Kirk made her the easiest target, the obvious suspect in every fan theory. Comments poured in, tagging her relentlessly, demanding answers she never signed up to give. But Jasmine was quick to respond. She denied it outright. Firm, direct. She posted that she had nothing to do with the dinner, nothing to do with the spoon, nothing to do with the whispers. Yet even her denial didn't silence the storm. For some viewers, denial only added more smoke. Bloggers circled like hawks. They pulled old photos comparing hair, nails, silhouettes. Grainy screenshots were zoomed and cropped with headlines screaming, "Could this be Jasmine?" Others swore the mystery woman looked nothing like her at all. Different build, different style. No match, one blogger declared. Still, the speculation refused to die. The mystery deepened as new theories surfaced. Some claimed the woman was a complete outsider, someone with no connection to the show at all. Others insisted it was a hidden flame the cast had been covering up for months. The possibilities spread faster than facts could keep up. And through it all, Jasmine stayed firm. She doubled down, saying she was tired of being dragged into every scandal attached to Kirk. Yet the more she pushed back, the more her name trended. Because in Atlanta drama, even a denial doesn't close the case. It keeps the mystery alive. It makes the question burn hotter. Who was the woman at that table? And why did no one want to reveal her identity? Momma Dee didn't retreat. She doubled down. In her confessional, she spoke with the same conviction that made her both loved and feared. To her, this wasn't gossip. It was duty. She declared that hiding the truth only allowed wounds to grow deeper. And if that meant ruffling feathers, so be it. She leaned into her words with the weight of experience. I don't stir mess. I reveal it. That line alone set the internet ablaze. Fans clipped it, replayed it, and turned it into a rallying cry. For some, she was the truth teller Atlanta needed. For others, she was the chaos agent who thrived on watching relationships crumble. The divide was instant. Half the audience praised her bravery. They argued that without Momma Dee's bluntness, secrets would rot behind fake smiles. The other half accused her of meddling in business that wasn't hers. dragging private matters into the spotlight just for a storyline. And yet, in her eyes, she wasn't wrong. She framed it as protection, as honesty, as a responsibility she carried. Momma Dee positioned herself as the one willing to say what everyone else avoided. Her delivery was sharp, her tone unshakable. It wasn't performance, it was belief. And belief, no matter how messy, resonates. That's why fans couldn't agree. Was she the hero exposing the hidden, or the villain feeding the flames? The answer didn't matter. What mattered was that Momma Dee's confession made silence impossible. The spooning scandal didn't just stir one pot, it cracked open several. While everyone debated the mystery woman, old tensions started bubbling to the surface. Spice and Bambi, already walking on shaky ground, exploded. What began as a casual comment about sharing too much spiraled into pointed insults. Spice accused Bambi of hypocrisy. Bambi fired back, claiming Spice thrived on drama that wasn't hers. Their words cut sharp, their tempers hotter than the room could contain. Other cast members weren't spared either. Jokes about the spoon turned into side remarks that reopened buried wounds. Someone's loyalty was questioned. Another's relationship history dragged back into the spotlight. In an instant, the original rumor became background noise compared to the new clashes it triggered. Friends picked sides, alliances fractured, and the room transformed into a battlefield of insults disguised as banter. It wasn't just about the spoon anymore. It was about years of resentment, mistrust, and egos waiting for a spark, and the spark had arrived. By the end of the night, what should have been one scandal had multiplied into several. A rumor meant to expose one dinner suddenly exposed fractures across the entire group. Because in Atlanta, one secret never stands alone. It always pulls another into the fire. The dinner that was supposed to ease tension became the stage for an all-out eruption. Plates were set, glasses filled, but before the first course could land, voices started rising. What began as whispers of suspicion transformed into direct accusations hurled across the table. One person leaned in and asked the question everyone avoided. Who was really in that bed? The room froze, then exploded. Defensiveness turned into shouting. Denials clashed with raised eyebrows, and every sentence dripped with venom. Kirk attempted to dismiss the story as baseless gossip, but his tone only fanned the flames. Rashida tried to calm the storm, but her words were drowned in the chaos. The men fired off jokes that cut deep, while the women demanded answers that no one wanted to give. Every name dragged into the rumor was forced to defend themselves. Jasmine's denial echoed. Bambi snapped back at Spice. Momma Dee barked about loyalty, duty, and betrayal. It wasn't a dinner anymore. It was a battlefield disguised by candles and silverware. At one point, the shouting was so raw that even production couldn't contain it. Viewers later admitted they replayed those moments, shocked by how unfiltered the conflict became. No one was spared. No bond was left untouched. And the climax? A thunderous silence after one final insult hit too close. The table sat still, heavy with the weight of shattered trust. No apology, no laughter, just glares that promised more storms ahead. This wasn't just a meal. It was the night secrets bled into the open, and the group crossed a line they could never step back from. Rumors don't just spread. They explode,